Okay, so forget asteroids, forget supernovas for a minute. Let's explore a truly mind-bending hypothetical. What would actually happen if the entire architecture of our solar system just failed, and all 8 planets were set on a catastrophic collision course? Well, this is that step-by-step journey into the day our solar system becomes one.
Right, so this doesn't just happen in a flash. It's not instantaneous. It's more like a drawn-out cosmic pileup. It all happens in waves. The inner worlds, they go first, and then come the giants. Think of it as a terrifying, slow-motion demolition of everything we know.
So how would any of this even begin, from our perspective, down here on the ground? It wouldn't start with a big bang. No, it would start with this deeply unsettling feeling that something is just wrong. Weeks before any impact, the fundamental forces that govern our world would start to unravel.
First, you'd notice the tides. They're no longer governed by the familiar pull of the moon. They become completely chaotic, causing constant, unpredictable flooding along every coastline. Then the ground beneath our feet would grow unstable. Earthquakes would spike in frequency and power. Even our moon would get nudged from its orbit. Animals, you'd see them reacting with this primal panic. And when you looked up, the planets wouldn't be those familiar points of light anymore. They'd be something far more menacing.
And this is where the real psychological terror would kick in. I mean, can you imagine looking up at the morning sky and seeing Venus not as a bright star, but as a visible, physical disk? And day by day, hour by hour, that disk just gets bigger and bigger. The threat isn't some abstract concept anymore. It's right there. You can see it growing, coming for us.
And then the confirmation from scientists would come. But here's the thing. There would be no secret plan, no solution, no mission to save the day. Humanity would just be faced with the simple, stark fact that the laws of physics have condemned our world. There's literally nowhere to run. There is only time, and it is running out. Okay, so now phase 1 begins. We're going to shift our perspective away from the ground and take a cosmic viewpoint, because the inner rocky planets are starting their deadly dance.
The very first domino to fall is Mercury. It's like a tiny pebble slamming into Venus at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. Its iron core just punches straight through, and its mass gets completely absorbed. And this creates a new, slightly larger and much deadlier Venus, which is now on a direct collision course with Earth. Mars is the last one to join the party, getting swallowed up into the growing inferno.
The moment that this supercharged Venus makes contact with Earth's atmosphere, it's almost impossible to comprehend. The kinetic energy released is just staggering. It would be like detonating every single nuclear weapon ever built billions of times over, all in one single instant.
And the end for our planet is shockingly fast. In less than a minute, it's all over. The oceans, they don't boil, they vaporize instantly. The atmosphere is just gone, blown away like snuffing out a candle. And finally, the very crust of the Earth, the ground we stand on, it all liquefies into this swirling ball of molten rock.
And that's it. It's a simple, brutal fact. Everything we've ever known, every mountain, every city, every single memory, it all just ceases to exist. This marks the end of the story for humanity.
But something new was actually born from all that destruction. The combined mass of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars is now a single object, a violently spinning white-hot superbody radiating immense heat and energy out into space. But the carnage? Oh, it is far from over.
Because now, the giants arrive.
And look, if the collision of the inner planets was an act of brutal destruction, what comes next is on a scale that is difficult to even imagine. The true main event is about to begin.
This is where the scale just completely changes. That molten superplanet we just saw being created, that violent body twice the mass of Earth, to Jupiter, it's nothing. It's like a handful of sand meeting an entire ocean.
Yeah, Jupiter doesn't crash into this new rocky core. It simply absorbs it. The material that was once 4 planets gets pulled into Jupiter's swirling layers of gas and liquid hydrogen, and it barely even causes a ripple. The sand just disappears into the ocean.
So next up is Saturn, and its arrival produces this moment of just terrible beauty. As it gets too close, it crosses Jupiter's Roche limit. That's basically this invisible line where gravity just tears objects apart. And Saturn's famous rings, they begin to disintegrate. Billions of ice crystals get pulled into this glittering, millions of miles long river flowing between the 2 planets.
It creates the most spectacular visual event in our solar system's entire history, but it's all unfolding in this silent, empty theater. A breathtaking sight with absolutely no one left to see it.
Finally, the ice giants Uranus and Neptune, they arrive to complete the chaos. And their arrival isn't just about adding more mass, it's about chemistry. We're talking trillions of tons of ice, water, ammonia, methane, being flash vaporized by the extreme heat. This triggers massive chemical reactions, and as all that methane ignites, it creates these spectacular flashes of orange and blue flame that would be visible across what's left of the solar system.
And then, silence. The explosions fade, the light starts to dim, the chaos finally subsides. And we now shift from this violent creation to the quiet aftermath. This is what's left. A single, massive object glowing a dull red and orange, slowly cooling. It's surrounded by a swirling cloud of debris, the shattered remains of 8 worlds. The solar system as we know it, as a distinct collection of planets, is completely over.
So, we've just witnessed the complete and total end of our solar system. But the source material leaves us not with an answer, but with a final, really provocative question. This new, massive body is now cooling in the silence of space. Is this truly an end, or could it possibly be the violent, fiery birth of something entirely new? What happens next?